And here. Hello, y'all. Welcome. Sean Glaze. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the Chief Consulting Officer for Inclusive Data. Look at this light. Can we get. There we go. I'm super excited today. We're going to be joined by a special guest, which is one of my favorite ways to host. And in case somehow you've landed on this page, you've landed on this live, and you're like, who is Sean and why are they talking to me? Sean, I am the Chief Consulting Officer for Inclusive Data. We are a consulting firm that has gotten well over $10 million in under a year for Black nonprofits and Black small businesses, which is kind of a big deal. I'm really excited to be bringing this special guest with us today so that you can meet them. I'm trying not to give you too many details, but I'll just say this. If you are passionate about effective outreach with people, especially Black and Brown folks, this is a team you want to know. If you are passionate about creating a world where we can all thrive, that is inclusive, that is diverse, that is logistically sound, this is the group that you want to know. And without too much further ado, I'm going to be bringing our guest on board. But first, I need your help kind of setting the space. If you are watching this, there's going to be some audience participation. That means we're going to be doing some likes. We're going to be doing some words. And I strongly recommend that y'all tag in some folks for this conversation. Whether you're joining by Facebook, whether you're joining by LinkedIn, whether you're on our YouTube, whether you're on Instagram, wherever you are, I really want you to take the time to tag in people who want to see a world that is more diverse, that is more connected, and where people have what they need to thrive. So take this moment now, please, you don't want to miss this, and tag folks in. Because while we meet with our guest, we are also going to be sharing details about how to get resources for communities. With that said, I'm going to be bringing them in. So let's test it out. Test that latency. If you are ready, please type ready in the chat so that we can test that latency, see how long it takes for these messages to pop up. That's right. Checking that ready. Okay, I'm seeing some stuff on my end come through. Come on through, y'all. Let's test it out. Thank you. Thanks for those of you who are sending likes. It is definitely an odd thing that we are doing together, but trust me, you don't want to miss this. And without further ado, I am bringing forth our guest. Welcome aboard. Please feel free to introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Me too.
My name is Patrice Williams. I am the founder of an organization called BrandGov. We're a community-based organization. We're in the Bay Area. We do grassroots community engagements and messaging. And what I say is, we meet the community where they are. So we are out in the community through the pandemic and we do some amazing work. But I will also have to introduce myself as one of your biggest fans.
What?
Absolutely. I talk about you all the time.
Are you serious?
At least 2 or 3 times a week. Yes, my grant writing, and anytime I talk to nonprofits, I'm talking about you and how you've inspired me. And yeah, so I've got to introduce on your show. I get to say it. I'm a fan.
I was not expecting that. Well, I will take that. And look, my dog's making sounds.
I hear.
I know. Yeah, she's a cutie. She's doing this thing right now where she's like, hey, I've got you trained. If I make this sound, you're going to open this little door here and I'm going to run out.
I totally hear tail wagging.
Yeah, she's a Basenji mix. And anyone out here in the audience, if you love dogs, if you're a pet person, please let me know what kind of pet you have. I have 2 dogs. Only one do people ever hear about. Her name is Hypatia. Sometimes I use like little facts like this in like, I don't know, games. So we're gearing into gaming December. So you may find that Hypatia is like the key word to something. Do you have any pets?
We've had some dogs over the years, but when our last dog died, we just
Hmm.
yeah, we just
Couldn't.
I guess too painful to replace.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be me. So that's part of why we have two dogs, and then we're gonna have zero dogs. I probably. And on that note, I will say that one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is this time of year where we're coming up and we are getting ready for family, like the lives in our lives, whether they are animals, people, plants, become more special to us, even when they start to bark. Even then. So with
Even
that
then.
said, I want to just really think about what we're excited about. We are almost at the end of the year home stretch, just like a few more weeks, and it's a time for reflection before December and the new year. I'd love to know what you're excited about.
Um, so I've spent most of us in this service-based work. We've spent since April really entrenched in the community.
Hmm.
And before then, I love to travel and experience new foods. I'm a foodie. I love experiencing new environments and cultures. And so I'm going on a little trip. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. I'm so excited. I want to hear from y'all in the comments, and I'm looking at my phone and here because we're getting comments a few different places where y'all want to go. I see Simone here and Philip. Philip, Philip is someone who I think like will particularly love to hear where you're traveling. Y'all, where do you think we are? Where Cape Patrice is going? Like, because I know you have a trip coming up. You want to tease us? Tell us a little bit of information.
Well, it's I live in California. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people vacation to this place.
Okay.
I never have.
Okay.
Um, and the other teaser is I have to go over a body of water.
Over a body of water. Okay, Philip is
Mhm.
game. Philip wants to play. Simone, like I see you. I see a couple more folks on my phone on this side. Is that Tatum? Hey, Kathy, where do you think Hey Patrice is gonna go? Gonna travel over some water. And while y'all guess, I'm gonna tell you this. There's a really big travel grant that's out right now. I can't stop. There's a really
Don't
big
stop. Tell them.
there's a big travel grant coming out. It is one of the Build Back Better ones. It has a rolling deadline. So it is something that you could prioritize now or later. The sooner the better, because once the funds are gone, they're gone. I see Jamaica. I see Hawaii. Keep guessing. We're gonna take a couple more guesses. But yeah, you can get grant funding for travel, for tourism. This grant is for destinations and supporting bed and breakfasts and like all of that good stuff. But you can also include travel as part of most grants in one way or the other. Ooh, someone's excited about that. All right, let me see what I can do here. There we go. She stopped. But yeah, so line items, whether that is because you're doing a conference or you're going to a place to do some curriculum development, or you're going to a place to better serve folks directly. Philip also guesses London. Kina says Hawaii. Simone says somewhere on the continent of Africa. Yes. Wow. I'm hearing some manifestation in the comments. Y'all are manifesting some future travel destinations, I imagine. Okay, Patrice, can you tell us where you're going?
I'm going to Hawaii.
Hawaii, Philip. I believe that's you. You win, Philip. And Kina, you too. I love it. We may have to do prizes when we have people over. I love giving people prizes.
Yes.
If that sounds like something you're interested in, let us know in the comments and feel free to tag more folks in so they can be part of this conversation. So, Kate Patrice, you're excited about this like time during travel. I imagine you worked super hard this year. Can you tell us a little bit about the work you do?
Oh my goodness. So during the pandemic, and I usually don't talk about before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, We did 70,000 engagements during the pandemic through the end of last year, going out to the community, meeting them where they were, food banks. We went to apartment complexes. We gave information about COVID-19. If we would remember back in the beginning, the messaging was confusing. Do you wear a mask? Do you not wear a mask? How you wash hands? How long do you wash your hands? It was all these confusing messaging. We jumped in to do census outreach. And I love the census work. It reminds me of our voting work. We've done voting registration work too, bipartisan. And it's like every person counts. Like last year, if you were born, by April 1st, you counted in the census, whether you're, rich or poor, no matter how much money you had, you counted. And we got out there, and for our county, we combined with other organizations, collaborated, one of your favorite words, Sean. And we had a 99.7% census rate in my county. And my organization was part of that.
Whoa. Can you say that? Run that one time.
99.7%.
I used to be an enumerator. I used to be one of those people who knocked on doors and got people to complete censuses. Not this last census, but the census before. And it is extremely difficult to get above 90% for any particular area. Can you just one more time tell us what that number was?
99.7%. And we did it together. It was 56 organizations. It was people, it was teachers, it was labor, it was the fraternities, the sororities. We literally did that together. And we were part of that collaborative spark. Yeah. So we did that. We did emergency response, all of these essential. Oh.
I can't get over it. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll be super quick. People like you, teams like yours who have results like this, sometimes y'all just kind of say it quick. And I'm just like, what? Simone, that's amazing for census, says Simone. Amazing. Simply incredible. Wow.
If you saw what we did, we literally were at encampments, making sure that our unsheltered were counted. That's why we do such a great job. It becomes an obsession. We're obsessed. Who can we reach? How? Where do we have to go? And we're out there having the communication and the conversations with people, because that's what we say. We're like, we are the best people to talk to us. And that's why we're so successful. That's why we get the funding and the support and the buy-in that we do.
Yeah, I can't even, I can't even, woo, just, I love how you didn't say it like this, but I was trying to put it in a little chat. Obsessed with excellence is what came up for me. Y'all are obsessed with excellence.
I'm going to put that as a banner on my website.
Hey, yeah, please take it. I'm reading here. Larisha says, how awesome. Kathy's like, wow. Kathy says, more counted, more funding in the area. Thank you, team. You're right, Tatum, Kathy, you're 100% right. For 10 years of investment will be reflected in the impact of the work that you do. 10 years. Geez, that's incredible. Wow. I'm curious to know if there's one thing in particular that stands out for you that you would want to share with people who are interested, and also achieving excellence in that way.
So one thing that they should do in their nonprofit,
I mean, I know you can't help literally everybody with their outreach plans, but it stands to reason. So while you think about this question, outreach plans, that is something that you can write grants for and get funding for. It is something you can license and then get paid time and time again. Outreach is something that you can get contracted for. So if you're not currently set up, I know you're probably set up pretty well for that, but other folks who are listening and looking at you phone and looking at you out there on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all the things, metaverse, we need to be really honoring this expertise we have. There are businesses that make a lot of money reaching our community and don't do nearly as well reaching us. 99 points, I've never heard a number that high. And I'm a researcher by trade and passion, right? When I'm not slaying grants, I am doing research. 99.7 is remarkable by every single metric. And so that's high ticket service right there. And so your outreach plans, your strategies, your secret sauce, that is something that you could have multiple income streams for. So yeah, I'm curious to know if there's just a teeny tiny one thing that you think really stands out. And before you answer, I know you're about to answer, audience, y'all could be tagging in people who need to hear this. I don't know if this live is going to save, but what we're about to hear, that teeny tiny crumb, that's what you can use to start to think about how it affects your community, something you can do to have excellence like that. So go ahead, Kate Patrice.
So when we're putting together what we call an engagement plan, we first think about who the audience is. Then we have a column that that's so funny. I saw the census pop back up, 99.7%. And then we put all of the organizations that can help us reach that audience. And then and that's part of our engagement distribution plan. And then we put ways to reach. So it could be social media, we do in person, we do something called a roadshow, engagement roadshow, which is new through the pandemic. We're getting on your Zoom calls for your organizations and your clubs, and also public commenting. And we're doing our 3-minute spiel. And then usually after we do that spiel, we get a bunch of messages, and we're having digital conversations. But everything is surrounding a plan. And we can scale up or down that plan. So you can go after $5,000 grants, and you can go much bigger. And you're just scaling that plan. But it really is that simple.
That's beautiful. I hope y'all were taking notes, because even that level of detail, I know you said it really is that simple. That level of detail is about what a lot of people submit for their outreach plan. They're like, who are you going to reach? And sit down and think about those channels, and really, it's just and that's it. And you have more details in terms of your implementation. But that right there, those are some gems there for y'all who are doing outreach or who are engaging with community. Tamika says, hey everyone, miss y'all. We see you, Tamika. Thanks for joining us. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the work that we do together, or the little bit that we I can't get over you're I'm a fan. I was like, what? What's happening? But yeah, how do we know each other?
Oh my goodness. I heard you speak on Clubhouse, and I was like, oh, Sean, let me look. Oh my goodness. I hope I don't sound weird. Okay. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I clicked through, followed what you did, set up an appointment with you, and somebody on your team. I spoke to that person. I'm like, okay, her team is fabulous. And I don't remember who it was, but oh, they were amazing. And then got on your mailing list. So then you sent out either an email or a text blast that says, become a part of, is it Grant Slayer? Grant Slayer. And I'm sure I was one of the first people to sign up. I'm sure I was. And now it's on my schedule. So it's reoccurring every Friday. I think it's 9 a.m. And my team knows Do not call me. Do not contact me. It's on the schedule. It's blocked off. I've been traveling in the car. You and my husband have the same birthday. So I've been traveling in the car, whatever. I do not care. 9 o'clock. I am on that Zoom call. It is the best investment that you can make if you are in this space and want to get better at writing grants.
Wow, thank you. I'm
Can I
gonna
say
pull
one more
over.
thing about you?
Sure.
Okay. So when you have a mentor this amazing, what you do is do everything they say. Like to the letter. You don't think about it, you don't say, "Oh, let me self-doubt." Da da da. No. If Sean says do it, I do it. So one of the things you said was, look, it's about relationships and it's about collaboration. And bring everybody with you, so you collaborate. Let's get these build back better grants together, and you need to meet, you need to, and this is this powerful time in the country where you have to collaborate to get these grants. And so because of you, um I my Heather Perini and I, who runs Solano Food is Free, an amazing woman. Together, we were like, okay, every Friday, let's meet with all the nonprofits, 30 plus of them, and let's make sure that we know how to write. We're putting together an executive summary to prepare for ARPA. Those dollars that are coming to my county, your city, the state. Let's be ready to collaborate. So we had another amazing person on our team that sees grants come in at her job, and so she gave us a template for executive summary and a budget. Cassandra James, and on Fridays we are collaborating with our Google Doc, and we are refining so we're ready for those ARPA presentations, and we've become like this close little thumper unit. It's on. We are going to do amazing things together. And Sean, you are the spark. You're the spark.
Thank you. I love that.
Lisa's on my team. Lisa's on my team. She's the one that where
Lisa!
yeah, she sees the block off
I
for
love
the
it.
9, and she organizes us for the 12 o'clock with the
Hi,
whole
Lisa.
team.
Hi, Lisa. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, I mean, I there's a lot that I really love about your story. One, I didn't know Clubhouse would be would be one of those things that there are a lot of Black folks on Clubhouse. I was sleeping on Clubhouse. Um, Kathy Kathy just dropped my Clubhouse URL in the chat, which is really really sweet and endearing. There's a lot of Black people in Clubhouse, and I'm really trying to reach Black community, primarily Black and Brown communities broadly, because a lot of us, like when we think about investment gaps, that's where the biggest ones are: Black community and Indigenous communities. And when we think about like the gaps in terms of race and gender, like it's even more staggered. And so Black women and Indigenous women, usually it's like every single chart, like it's really obvious. There's now we can have a whole conversation about why. What I like to talk about is the impact of that. One of the reasons why, when we think about impact, is so important is so much of this is a mix of like the structures that are in our lives kind of ripple affecting like down. And so structural racism, right? Colonization, all these things, like they're real, they're happening, they've been happening for a long time. But the ripple effects are mindset, the ripple effects are relationship, the ripple effects are like the kinds of traumas we carry and we've inherited. And so when we say things like collaboration is so important, relationships are key, like Patrice was saying, like I say a lot too, we still have all this trauma that didn't just evaporate. Like that was there. For Black folks, a lot of us were relational people, I think, like if you trace it back, but there's been a lot of trauma done to our communities. And so it's kind of scary initially for people to think about collaborating. And if this sounds like someone you know, please tag them in, because I have a couple of ideas for how you can try to resolve that, and try to get past it. But once you start to really dig in and like really disrupt that, you can have like some really quick, huge wins pretty quickly, at like at a magnitude and scale that'll actually help a community. But if you can't get past those blocks where you're like, oh, I don't want to work with other people because I'm afraid they're gonna steal my idea, right? How many of y'all heard that? Like, they're gonna steal my idea. I'm afraid they're gonna write me out of the grant. Like, we'll come in together and then like at the last minute I'll be dropped. I'm afraid that if we collaborate, then they're gonna take all the money so that I'll still be on there, but like they're gonna have all the money. Like, we're afraid, and that fear is because, you know, we've been conditioned to not trust other people. Like, it's been told to us, right? But when you think about what I noticed that people really seem to resonate with is like, you might not trust people, but you might trust a system, right? You might not trust people, but you'll trust a recipe. Like, someone might be a bad cook, but like, and so creating like a recipe for success can help a lot of people start to break past that fear of people. It's like, you know, I think a lot of people in our Facebook group, for example, and you have a Facebook group too, right? Like, you have a place you.
I do, but I'm
Okay.
sharing this too.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to drop your Facebook group URL in the chat, I'll go ahead and post it in the banner so other people can follow and like and get tapped into y'all, because BrandGov is amazing. But yeah, so if you don't trust, you know, people, but you know that someone has written out a process that has gotten so many people so much money and that is like tailored for your community, you might take a leap of faith. And in that leap of faith, you'll meet people who are like really genuinely great, like wanting to collaborate. And in that, in and of itself, turns into like a good thing for your community, because you're starting to dip your toe into collaboration. And with y'all were already pretty collaborative, right? Y'all were knocking it out in terms of getting out the vote. You were doing all these other things that was really helping people to tap in, and to support each other. But what you may not have been doing before was bringing together of several nonprofits and like a grant strategy. And something like that like is huge. Like, just in Seattle, which is where we're at, when we were able to get like millions of dollars like in community to several Black-led orgs, the ripple effects, especially for the Black women-led orgs, it was huge. Like, everyone was suddenly able to eat. People were looking out for each other. People weren't like hurting each other because they wanted to. They didn't have resources. And unfortunately, one of the outcomes is like hurting each other. But once there were resources on the table in the hands of people who genuinely wanted to get resources in community, things shifted like just drastically. So yeah, I just want to say a lot from what you shared. I'm just like, woo.
You know, I think also what was powerful is we came we came we went to the nonprofits, and we said, we want to collaborate, B, we don't want to compete,
Mm-hmm.
and C, we have to do this together.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was an easy sell because the truth is, through the pandemic, we were doing a lot of stuff together. But now, you know, we get to do it and go after those funds. Like, what, we shouldn't have to struggle to survive to serve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. And I am going to put up, so I put the bottom about collaborating, talking, and trusting. When you talk and trust, you can make it robust. You can make something really amazing, right? And you need to make sure you're on the same page about expenses and funding, right? That's true. Like, you don't want to just go in and be like, we'll figure it out later. And but yeah, when you have a plan, when you're intentional, when you're telling people about what you're doing and why, it makes a huge difference. I want to just do a quick plug for your website because it is actually really remarkable. I don't know if you're planning on changing it anytime soon, but is it okay if I share with people what your website looks like?
Well, you already have. Oh, you're going to show the actual website? Let's do it.
Ah, yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm going to share a screen. I'm gonna share one tab because yeah. Check this out, y'all. I can't even. I'm on the About Us page. Let me go to the home page. So it says better outreach, better results, better coalition.
Oh wait, let me go like this. Wait.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm for the audience. I'm getting in position as my picture.
Okay, cool. Yeah, check this out. Y'all, if you can see this, will you let us know in the chat? And if you are in love with this as I am, can you just give us some likes? Because this is amazing. Like being able to see this website. What I particularly love, and part of why I particularly love this, is I'm such a nerd about this stuff. When you hover over About Us, y'all, there's a section for capability statement. So, however, there's a section for the EIN, the DUNS number, their status, right? Cage, like the NAICS codes, like this is what you hire them for when you're filling out like an invoice or something. And you like this information, like just like from jump, being able to have that, just to quickly be able to fill that out is huge. And while I'm not saying copy this and do this exactly the same way, I think having something like that on your website is just so smart, because what it tells me, it signals to me, is that I am ready to do business. Like I have the numbers that are gonna like unlock so many opportunities for me, and like I made it easy for you to find me. One thing that we say a lot is if you're not findable, you're not fundable, right? Like that's the end of the day, point blank, period. And the just that simple small thing, I'm like, yes. So you did that. I love it.
Thank you.
It's so good. It's so good. I know we don't have a lot more time together. I feel greedy for taking so much time,
This is
and but
fun.
this has just been so fun, and we're not really winding down yet. I'm sad at the thought of having to wind down. I would love to talk a little bit about how people can support this great work you do, because yeah, I think that you making it easier to see, especially Black and Brown people, especially people experiencing homelessness for 10 years, and budgetary decisions, there will be grants that will be based on the census data that you have provided. I'm working on a grant now, actually, that probably has to do with that, called the Connecting Minority Communities Pilot Program, which is about connecting Black and Brown people to internet, right? Huge grant due in 2 weeks. So in theory, y'all can still apply, but in practice, like you might want to just wait to the next thing. But the census data is actually one of the most important components of that grant. And while I think it's important to have census data, the limitations when you only have like 60% or like less like response rate for the area, and there's all these folks who need services who will never be counted, who will never like show up in those kinds of decisions. You've made it to where like our communities are seen and prioritized. So yeah, I just want to know, how can we support the work that you do?
Oh my goodness. So we we do really amazing engagement work, and I have an amazing team. I pay livable wages, and so for every $100, we're able to do an event. I can pay my team to go out and meet the community where they are, wherever they are, for 2 hours. And right now we're doing COVID-19 education work. We just want to educate the community on, still how to keep the community safe. There's people that don't want to be vaccinated. You need to know what to do still.
Right.
And oh, I didn't get to tell you my news that ties to this.
What? You got news? Tell
I
us.
have news.
Actually, don't tell us right away. Do y'all want to hear this news? I know I do. I see people also, we're talking in the chat about your website. So
Oh,
Lisa, of course, loves it. It is an outstanding website, Lisa. Simone says, people want to work together. We have been starving for too long, to the point where everyone fought for themselves. In abundance, everyone can eat. Simone, if I could like put that on a plaque, like that would be like, that's the tweet, that's everything. So yeah, thanks for speaking on that. Larisha loves the outreach hands and the accessibility info on the website. That is what's up. Simone, loving that website. So just want to put it out there. Like, I don't want you to, yes, very excited. But tell us a little bit more about how we can support the great work you do.
So you can support the great work and outreach, and now you can support the great work in COVID-19 testing. We received a grant from the state of California Department of Health to do free COVID-19 testing
Nice.
at not only community events, but I founded a transitional home for my mother. So I always start at transitional homes
Oh,
and knowing
yes.
that they need COVID-19 testing all the time. So we go to shelters, we go to transitional homes to do COVID-19 testing.
That's awesome.
And for every $100, that's 2 hours in supplies and for wages for my team to go to a transitional home.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. We love it so much that we are chiming glasses. I got a lot of hearts when you were telling me that. 2 hours of outreach. I can't even imagine. Like, outreach is really intense because you have to have a lot of skills for that. You have to have soft skills. You have to be able to meet people where they're at. You have to know how to respond to people when they, maybe feeling some kind of way and they're taking it out on you. And yeah, I'm curious, does your team have to go through some kind of training to learn how to do this well? Do you, what does that look like?
Going forward, we may need to do that. It just so happens that I hired that skill set. So I just knew the skill set and I hired it.
Well,
tell me
what you're looking for when you're making those hires. Because you can't just be like, "Are you good at outreach?" and then be like, "Yeah."
No, we're asking about those customer service. How do you handle negative situations? How do you handle, when people approach you different ways? That's all part of the interview skills. How do you feel about working with others? Because it seems like, you're out at an outreach event, you're not working with others. No, the community is inviting us in to out. They're trusting us.
Yes.
To outreach. So usually when we go to an event, and I have to admit, I have the best team in the world. And when you go to my website and click on About Us, you can see pictures of them. They're pretty incredible. But these are all that just come into play. Being on time and but just always putting your best foot forward. Our team even goes to city and county events and do public speaking. So they're able to do public speaking. They're not afraid to speak. They also take really great pictures. If you go to our Empower Solano Facebook page, that's our public face of BrandGov, is Empower Solano. And that's pretty amazing. Everyone has bought into the Empower Solano face. Like, we have elected officials, community leaders, neighbors. They will find us to take a picture with, whatever brand that we're rocking, whether it's Empower Solano or vaccination or vote now. Like, people are all in. They will trace us down for to connect with us. So my team is they're local celebrities, is what they are.
I mean, they sound like it, multi-talented. Larisha had mentioned that it's so important and so smart to hire that skill set from jump, right? So you know exactly, what you're getting, but also so you can scale and they become your trainers, they become your ambassadors, basically. And then Tatum, Kathy says, because I'm always doing COVID-19, I'm always here to partner, and we're my LLC and medical supplies, along with my nonprofit, raise funds on COVID-19 testing. Y'all, like testing is so important right now, especially because we have some vaccines coming out, like they're coming out, boosters, all of that. Talk to your doctor about what makes sense for you. But we're always going to need to know, especially in a situation where you're living with a lot of people or working closely with people, you're going to want to have that assurance. So really smart. And it's free. And so I wonder how it gets paid for. Like, is that something that y'all have to pay for out of pocket? Does someone else pay y'all to do this? Like, what does that look like?
The state, we applied for a grant. I
Mm-hmm.
got on one of your Grant Slayer, promoting Grant Slayer office hours, and I was working on it, and Lisa was working. We were collaborating, working on it, and I asked you a few questions, and you were like, you said something about a pilot. You gave us some key language. I put that language in there, tweaked that budget, sent it, and it was approved in a week.
Woo! That's awesome.
And
That's what I love to hear.
equipment is covered, labor is covered. Um, it's it's beautiful.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
labor
I
to a
can't
certain extent.
say again.
Labor to a certain extent. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we gotta. Well, I think that there's something you mentioned, and I know we'll start wrapping up, but ARPA. I haven't really started talking to a lot of people about the new ARPA investments that are coming. Y'all may have noticed there's also that infrastructure bill that passed. I know some of y'all don't really follow politics. I'll tell you this, a lot of times they're talking big money when they're talking about those infrastructure bills. Those are jobs, those are nonprofits getting hired, businesses, a lot of public-private partnerships. So bringing together nonprofits and businesses and governments. That's going to be really big next year. And so I hope y'all were taking notes tonight because, like, honestly, K. Patrice laid out a lot of gems for y'all, a lot of gems, value, whatever you want to call it, like tips, things you need to know about having a really competitive application and doing that well. But also like positioning, that collaboration piece. You don't just like be good at it all of a sudden. Like it does take some practice and time, but it starts with bringing the right people into your space. So like hiring for the skill set and being really intentional about the questions you ask them, that's huge. When you are going after grants, making sure that they align with what you do and that you're not tailoring what you do necessarily. Like you're not going to change what you're doing completely to fit the grant. You're going to make a commitment to community, to do something with excellence. Obsessed with excellence is something I wrote down based on what you were talking about. You're going to be really obsessed with excellence. You're going to be obsessed with connecting people. You're going to be really focused on that mission, that vision, and bringing it to life. And then, and yeah, I do see some people talking about, just like with these grants, like there's big money on the table for folks who can do this well. In fact, before we close out, I do want to do like a shameless plug for you. Like, honestly, we need folks to donate now to BrandGov. Why? Number sign, right? $sign BrandGov on Cash App. Why? It takes work to put together stuff like this. Like, it isn't something that just comes out of nowhere. It's years of commitment and dedication to community. And I want us to get used to the idea that we are compensating people for their labor, whether it's just like their genius, like showing up on StreamYard, Zoom, LinkedIn, whatever. Like, I want us to get used to that. Even if it's something small, like that transaction, it's more than just the dollar, it's the energy. We need to be pouring into each other. So, like, it's time. So, if you have Cash App, which I know most of y'all do, right? Pop it open, put that $sign, that BrandGov, right? And send some money, right, to BrandGov, to K. Patrice, because it's these stories like this that really matter. And I have a suspicion, I have an inkling that if we do more things like this, where we come up on other people's lives and we share even like small amounts, that adds up. because it feeds into us to see each other support each other in this way, right? Like it makes put a smile on your face. It could be like $5, $10, doesn't matter. Like you open your phone, you're like, wow, people saw me. So yeah, I will always make the ask. So yeah, I really appreciate you so much for coming today, Kay Patrice. It is
my
remarkable.
honor and my pleasure.
Yeah, I would love to have you back sometime. I'll go ahead and give you a chance to say a final word before I tuck you back into the audience.
Awesome. Can I take this few minutes to say Grant Slayer? Can we put up the Grant Slayer um, uh, website address? If you are a nonprofit, if you are a community-based organization, if you want to write grants, want to be a better, knowing Sean has made me a better founder, owner, person, has made me more intentional in the way I touch the community. If any of those are something that you need, want for yourself, I'm getting chills because I mean it and I hope you all can see it. Um, she is someone you need to follow. She leads with her heart. She gives information that I don't see anywhere else. I used to see different things come out, like the infrastructure and the different bills, and didn't know what to do with it. She shows you what to do with it. So I don't remember what the fee is because you know what? I don't care. It's a monthly fee. It comes out. It's small compared to what you learn. So I just want to close in saying that you are amazing. I appreciate you. You are a blessing in my life and the life of many others.
Ah, my God. Thank you, Kay Patrice. Make me cry. I would love to have you back. And I appreciate that so much. Yeah, our team, we pour a lot into this work, and it's for our community, honestly, for us to have what we need to thrive. And it's really fun and awesome watching y'all go through the class, and then you're like, I got this grant, and like I did what you said, and then this happened. I'm like, yeah, and ask for this. It's kind of like
Right, that's what you did. When I did the grant, it was X amount, and you said, "What is the ceiling?" And I said, "What is that?" You said, "What is the ceiling?" And I contacted them back, and it's double.
mm, mm, mm. Yes, love it. Okay, I will tuck you into the audience.
Okay,
Thank you
tuck
for
me
coming.
now.
I'll tuck you. I got you. Awesome. I'll see you in a bit. And wow, it is words. Tatum, Kathy, keep up great work, both of y'all. We are saving us, says Tatum, Kathy. Simone says, yes, let's get used to supporting each other. That's dope. That's what's up. I am going to go ahead and start closing us out. Please go ahead and send that donation to BrandGov on CashApp. Tag your buddies, tag your friends, tag your community, share this stream with your audiences. Like, I really wanted us supporting each other. And for me, I'll close this out this way. I'm about to sign off so that I can teach a cohort of youth on how to build and maintain community-owned free internet. That is one of the projects that I work on. It is supported by several funding sources, several grants, and we're just going to keep growing that out. And any of y'all could do that. We have our curriculum available open source. So if this is something that is of interest to you, hit us up on our social media accounts, which is Inclusive Data on all of the socials. In fact, I think I have a link that has all of the things. Yeah. This is BrandGovs, Facebook, Cash App, website. Follow their Facebook, donate to their Cash App, look at their website, right? And you can always find us at any time at Inclusive Data on social media. So with that said, I'm going to close this out. Thanks, y'all. I'm going to end this broadcast here and here and here and here, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.